Happy Friday, everybody. Rivers Hughey here from Off the Bench on 104.5 ESPN and 103 ESPN New Orleans. LSU moved up 7 spots this week to number 6 in the coaches poll and the AP Top 25 after Saturday's win over number 7 Auburn. The LSU football coaches answered a lot of criticisms we all had head on. Kicker Cole Tracy picked up the honor of SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. The SEC award is the second of the year for Tracy, who was also honored following LSU's season-opening victory over Miami. How are LSU fans celebrating? By donating money to the school that gave us Cole Tracy, of course, Assumption College. As of Wednesday afternoon, some 141 gifts had been made totaling nearly $7,000 to Assumption College. Vice President for Institutional Advancement Tim Stanton says at Tracy's request, the gifts made in Tracy's name will go to support Assumption's football program. He also said that if the support got big enough, in the millions, there was a possibility they'd name the field after him. While it seems like reaching 7 figures might be a stretch, if Tracy keeps kicking like he has been and helps knock off teams like Georgia or Alabama, never say never. After all, SEC fandom knows no bounds. This week, LSU football looks to the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. Who exactly is Louisiana Tech? The offense led by QB Jamar Smith has averaged over 300 yards through the air and 200 yards on the ground. They're really good. The flip side of this is that they also have one of the worst defenses in the country. LSU's offense as a whole needs to show more consistency, and this week is the perfect opportunity. In New Orleans Pelicans news, which I know you've been waiting for with bated breath, veteran guard Jarrett Jack has agreed to a contract with the New Orleans Pelicans. Jack, who turns 35 next month, has played 13 years in the NBA, including 2 stints in New Orleans. He has also played for Portland, Indiana, Toronto, Golden State, Cleveland, Brooklyn, and New York. It might be easier to name the places that he hasn't played. This Sunday, the Saints take on their favorite rival, the Atlanta Falcons. Going into this matchup, ATL leads the rivalry 51-46 all time. With what we've seen from the Saints team through 2 weeks, it's hard to get a clear picture of who they really are, and there are a ton of question marks still. Head coach Sean Payton says that offensively there's a ton to clean up. He specifically called out his own short yardage play calling and said that the tight end position has to be better. Still, as bad as things have been for the Saints through 2 weeks, it's nothing compared to the adversity of the Falcons. The injury bug has bitten them hard. Devontae Freeman is dealing with a knee injury that will keep him out a couple more weeks. Pro Bowlers Deion Jones and Keanu Neal both suffered long-term injuries. Neal is out for the season and Jones has a foot injury and is expected to return late. Speaking of the Saints, Drew Brees will set an NFL record on Sunday. He needs to complete 14 passes to overtake Brett Favre on the all-time completions list. When they asked him about a record being in reach, he said, "Which one?" Nice and humble, that Drew Brees. We also found out our favorite degenerate gambler, Ben Mintz, has been moonlighting as an NFL QB. He and Pat Mahomes have the exact same voice, which may not seem weird unless you've heard either of their very, very distinctive voices. Mintz joins us this week to give us a prediction of how his Chiefs might perform this weekend and to give you 6 more money-making picks. It was officially announced. It's a whole new generation's chance to do their dance at the Space Jam as LeBron James is taking on the sequel. There are a lot of questions floating around. 1, what will the Monstars look like, and could Anthony Davis's eyebrows make an appearance? 2, will Kevin Hart just assume he is in this movie unless someone tells him otherwise? 3, will there be a Michael Jordan cameo? But in the end, don't let the Space Jam 2 news distract you from the fact that the Monstars blew a 66-18 halftime lead. We also were joined this week by Booger McFarland, Barrett Jones, and Cole Kubelik, who all gave you their thoughts on a weekend of college football matchups. To round out the week, T-Bob presented the latest edition of Fantasy Football, A Song of Purple and Gold. Catch all of this off-the-bench content and more on demand at 1045ESPN.com.